The Jackall Binksy lure. This lure has so much stuff going on with it, I actually had to make sure that I took notes on some of the stuff that it features just so I can make sure I talk about everything. Tackle Warehouse has this lure listed for $14.99. It has a length of 2 3/4 inches, a weight of 1/2 ounce, and obviously it's a topwater lure. And it's worth mentioning that the hooks on it are owner hooks. I think the Jackall brand and owner, they must have some kind of a deal, because I think most of my Jackall lures have owner hooks on them. And the only reason that I'm even mentioning it, because I normally don't mention hooks hardly at all, is just because owner hooks are actually really nice hooks, and a lot of people like to replace their hooks as soon as they get the lure. But these ST36BC hooks from owner are actually really good hooks, so you wouldn't really have to change these out as soon as you got the lure. You also see that the treble hook on the back is dressed. It has some feathers in it. It has like three or four feathers in it, and then also has some flash fiber in the back as well. The overall finish of the lure is really nice, as you would expect from a Jackall lure. It's nothing different from anything that I've showed you before. This particular lure actually has some scale painted on the back, but there's also some etched scaling here on the side. It has some raised gill plates, and then again with the Jackall brand, you get these really nice three-dimensional holographic eyes on there. Zoom in for you guys can get a good look at those eyes. You can see how nice they are. And while we're here, you can see that the bottom of this lure has a spinnerbait blade, there's a prop on the back, and then you also have a cupped mouth as a popper would. So it has the basic overall shape of a popper, but it also kind of triples as a prop bait and walking bait if you were to try to walk this bait, because in my experience out on the water, it actually did a very nice job walking. That kind of brings me to the split ring on the front. I would actually choose to take the split ring off in favor of a loop knot, just so you can get a little bit more action out of this lure. Now when you look at the inside of the lure, and you can hear me as I'm kind of manipulating the lure, you can hear all the noisiness coming from it. And it has these two kind of plastic or glass ball bearings here in the back, in this main chamber here. And then there's also another, and I'm not sure if the intended purpose of it was to be a rattle, but it does make noise from side to side. I think it was originally meant to be like a counterweight or counterbalance. On the prop itself, there's these two stainless steel cups that are opposing each other, where the prop actually sits in between, and that actually lets the prop spin very freely with minimal effort. It's important to know that, just so you can understand that it doesn't take a ton of effort to get that prop churning in the water when you're trying to move it and get that splashing action out of a prop bait, as you normally would. Now, in my experience with the lure, I noticed that the spinnerbait blade and the prop actually touch each other as they're going through the water. Hopefully I can get to touch there. You can kind of see that it's kind of popping it there. The point is that as this bait runs through the water, you'll see that this prop actually touches the spinnerbait blade, and it also makes a different noise, something different than what you're used to with that churning blade action. You actually get a more pinginess to it too, which is different, and it's cool. It sounds neat in the water. Also, this spinnerbait blade here on the bottom is attached to a swivel, and the swivel is actually inside the body of this lure. You can see that the spinnerbait, or the blade here, and you can see that swivel inside the body there. Kind of cool, just spinning around. A lot of attention to detail here in this lure, which is, again, not new and something that you would expect from this brand. If I was you, I would go ahead and replace the split ring in favor of a loop knot, just because the loop knot is going to give it a little bit more freedom to move from side to side and get that sachet action down. I also noted that long poles, like you would do with a traditional prop bait, so you would do these long poles that would drag this lure about, let's say, like a foot or two in the water to get that blade churning, are not as effective because of this cupped mouth. You'll start to see this lure start diving under the water and going from side to side. I don't think that was the intended purpose, but again, I've already mentioned how effortless the blade is to turn. So just those short pops that you would get from working it like a normal popper, or the sachet action of a walking bait, is going to get that blade churning, and it's also going to get it contacting the spinnerbait blade there in the back, and it does cast very well. There's a lot of weight in a small compact body. When it's sitting in the water, it sits near parallel, so it's again, that's that counterweight that I think is up here. I think if it didn't have this weight up here towards the mouth of the lure there, I think it would probably sit butt down. But I think it's really effective that it sits parallel. I don't think the bait would be as good if it sat butt down in the water. Now this first bait here is called Ghost Oikawa, Oikawa. It's kind of a transparent bait, but for the most part it's opaque. You can't totally see through it. It's blue, but it kind of turns into this kind of pearlescent color down towards the bottom here. It's got a red transparent mouth, gold accents here on the gill plates, and it's just kind of like an olive brown, olive green color here on the top. So this one's Ghost Oikawa. And then this next one here really doesn't look anything like it does in the picture, and I showed you this before, that when Tackle Warehouse uses the pictures that they use for Ghost Minnow, which is what this color is called, it looks really purple, but that purple is really popping off because of that pearlescent look that it has inside the paint. You can kind of see that color changing effect that it has there. You can start to see some of that purple there. But this is just a regular Ghost Minnow color. It's basically like a tan brown color. And this one's a lot more transparent. You can actually see the ball bearings moving around inside the body of this lure. And the mouth on this lure is clear, so it doesn't have that red cupped mouth. And this one has a little bit more of a white body here. So this one's Ghost Minnow. These are really nice lures. I've always been impressed by Jackall stuff. Jackall is probably one of my favorite companies that I buy lures from because they never seem to disappoint with the stuff that you buy from them. You pay a little bit more of a premium price with their lures, but you kind of know what you're getting and you know you're going to get something good. So if you guys like the video, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Facebook and or Instagram. I'll leave the links to those in the description. Stay tuned to my next video. I'll have either a fishing video, a lure review, or a vlog of some sort coming out here in the next day or two. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching.